Hello, New Life. Welcome to Cinco de Mayo. We're so glad you guys have joined us. We're actually doing Acts 5 today. We are going through the book of Acts, and you will see these videos on Instagram on Tuesday and Friday. And then on Wednesday, there's a longer version on Facebook. So you can join us on any one of those media outlets. So just to recap so far, what you've read through chapters 1 through 4 is that we have had finally the Holy Spirit revealed himself on earth to the 120 that waited, and we see connect groups that break out. They were meeting in their homes. Miracles, signs, and wonders were breaking out all over the city, and they were flourishing. They were sharing their belongings. Nobody was without. And then we see two people enter the scene in Acts 5, and this is kind of one of those stories that you scratch your head on and go, why was this so dramatic? So what we find about these two people is they were part of the 120 where the Holy Spirit fell on them. They were considered disciples, but there was something deep inside them that they hadn't dealt with yet. There was sin that the Lord was exposing through the purity of the Holy Spirit being in such an intense season that sin was so easily exposed. And so the sin was not that they wanted to keep some of the money. They actually could have done that by selling their land. They could have said, hey, I'm going to keep 80 and give you 20. But they actually lied about the amount that they sold the land for. And so they were trying to look good to the leadership. They were trying to give money, but they were lying. And so that root was exposed and actually brought death, again, because of the purity of the moment of what was happening around the city. There was no sin that was allowed to live. And so we see this one act of judgment actually brings, though, a new sense of fire to the city. Verse 11, it brought a holy fear against sin. And then we see the church grows in verse 14. Again, I love that through purification, we see the church growing, and that is the only way we know it'll grow. I also love the whole story of Peter and John getting released from prison in Acts 4 and then getting thrown back in prison in Acts 5 again. And then an angel releases them and sends them back to the city. It's so cool just to see how real the power of God was because they were living purified lives. And so it's such a great example for all of us today that if we want to see miracles, signs, and wonders break out in Pomona, that we have to live pure lives. Like for all of us, especially leadership, we have to make sure we're presenting ourselves before the Lord and say, what is deep inside me that could be holding back revival hitting this city? And hold yourself accountable to leadership too. Ask friends and family. And the Lord wants to forgive. He wants to move. He wants to bring healing to our land. And we're going to see that happen in Pomona. We're so excited about what is to come when we open our doors back up. Stay tuned. We love you. And we'll see you again on Friday then. Bye.